The following is completely factual, totally happened, and is in no way a work of fiction, and not the product of a night of a ton of alcohol combined with some pot smoking.
That's why I call myself the king of fools. King of fools, king of fools. When it comes around to love, I always lose.
So, this is the story of the time I went down to Portland to hang with my guys Kurt, Nigel, and Stacy. Nigel's band, you see, was playing in a show, and it kicked all kinds of ass. Seriously, go listen to Unusual Subjects, cause they're awesome. Anyway, after the band finished, we filed out of the building. Now you see, this was in the middle of January, and Portland had recently been hit with something of a snowstorm. I am not kidding you when I say that the streets were covered in dry snow. Now, I lived in Michigan, it's where I learned how to drive, and I've had a couple experiences with what happens when you don't drive carefully in that. Also, because it was Friday night, I knew there was a pretty good chance there'd be some drunken idiots on the street, plus I was still kinda hammered. Now, Kurt, Nigel, and Stacy were originally going to get a cab and go to Nigel and Stacy's place, but I didn't feel safe about going back to Tacoma that night, so I offered to chauffeur them all into my van and we crashed at their place. Not having to pay for a cab is what I think won them over. So we all filed into my van and took off. Now the thing to keep in mind is that the hierarchy of drunkenness went like this: me, Stacy, Nigel, and Kurt. I had had a Blacktooth Grin and a hard cider that night. Kurt had had 2 Long Island iced teas, a cranberry and vodka, a Red Bull and vodka, and possibly a rum and coke. Honestly, that night it would have been easier to ask Kurt what he didn't drink. So we're driving down Portland to Nigel and Stacy's place. I got Social Distortion playing on the stereo. Bad Luck comes on.
You got bad, bad luck. Bad, bad luck.
And then it feels like we hit a guy, so we pile out to see if we did. And it's some guy in what looks like a blue ninja outfit, which at first elicits a collective what the fuck from us. I try poking the guy with a stick. He doesn't get up. It's dead quiet for a while. And then Nigel breaks the silence.
Holy shit, Brett! You killed a guy!
So I'm panicking, I'm hyperventilating, and then Kurt has to slap me back to my senses and say, Dude, calm the fuck down. We can fix this. So Stacy opens my trunk door, tosses the body in, and calmly says,
We toss the body in a dumpster along the way and go about our business. It's Portland. The cops will think it was a gay prostitute that OD'd.
So we get back to driving and we come across a dumpster. We toss the guy into it and drive off. The song turns into Ball and Chain. Kurt can see that this whole ordeal has stressed me out, so to take my mind off it, he gets us talking about things like wrestling, video games, cartoons, and porn. We spend a lot of time on porn, particularly how I find the idea of a sex shop passe. I mean, why buy your porn there when you've got the internet? But Kurt makes a case for such establishments. Well, here's the thing about sex shops. You can go inside a sex shop and you can check out the DVDs and see if you're getting like a half chub or something, and then you can decide whether or not you want to take that home with you. It's a really good way to find out what you're really into. Credit where it's due. That's a convincing argument. Along the way, we stop by Jack in the Box for some grub. As we leave, the song turns back into Bad Luck and... well, again, everything goes black. When I finally come to, I'm lying on the street in the snow. I'm covered in glass. I can see there's a hole in my van's window. And there's a cyborg who looks suspiciously like the guy we ran over. I notice a huge dent in the side of my van, and I put 2 and 2 together. This guy ball rushed us and yanked me out of the van, yanked us all out. And he's the guy we ran over, and he's here to kill us. We run for the hills, cyborg ninja in hot pursuit. Somehow we give him the slip and wind up in an abandoned warehouse. We take refuge and discover it's a warehouse used to store vintage hentai DVDs. Figuring we've earned ourselves a bit of reprieve, Nigel suggests that we toke up and watch a few. We go with Fisherman's Wife and Fisherman's Wife 2, the Retentacling. We're just sitting around completely baked and watching a hentai where some chick gets a squid tentacle in every conceivable orifice. Personally, I found Fisherman's Wife 2 to be a more ambitious piece. It invented new orifices. And just as we're getting into it, the cyborg caught up with us. He stands there, menacingly. He slowly approaches, and I toss a desk fan at him. It doesn't faze him, of course, so we run all over the place. Kurt and I find a forklift, so we get an idea. The cyborg continues looking for us, but Kurt and I, we charge and skewer him good, driving the forklift into a wall. We stand triumphant, proud of what we did. So we go back to getting baked and watching cringe hentai.
Do me doggy style. Flip me over and fuck me like the dirty hound I am.
Around 4 a.m. I black out. When I come to, I'm back at my apartment in Tacoma. I'm hungover as shit and there's a throbbing pain in my ass. I check my phone for the time and there's a text from Kurt.